I was going to say good morning, but I'm realizing that it's actually good afternoon and that I forgot to put my microphone on, which I'm glad I realized because that would not have been good. Hi guys, welcome. Let's say hi to me if you're seeing this now or later, doesn't matter. And just let me know where you're watching this from. That's one of the main thing about Facebook, how amazing it is that you get to talk to so many people who are from all over the world. So that's always a lot of fun for me. I am here in Boulder, Colorado, and it is officially we're back to winter, which is unfortunate. So let's see here. This is a topic I want to talk a little bit about setting up goals in such a way that you're actually going to really magnify and maximize the chances of feeling and being successful. I've had quite a few discussions with clients and with friends of mine about how, there's a movement to set goals in very tangible manner. Like, how much money do you want to make this month? How many clients do you want to get? How many leads do you want to connect with, especially in business? Or even, if we're talking about something else, how many pounds do you want to lose? And for me, I think that can very much set ourselves up for failure, especially in the beginning. So one of the ways to really be successful is to shift, and essentially to shift from from result-oriented goals to process goals, and to understand that when it comes to success, when it comes to achieving what we want to achieve, at first we have to become it. We have to become what we want. Then we act, we do, and then we receive. For a lot of people, when we're too focused on the receiving, we're failing to actually see who we need to become and what we need to do consistently to be able to receive. And when that happens, when we're focused on the results and the tangible results with too much zooming into that, then what ends up happening is we become disenchanted, we become frustrated, we become disheartened, and we erode our confidence, we erode our courage, we erode our excitement and our passion. And in all fairness, that is the most important aspect of having a successful business, is who you're showing up as, what you're embodying, what you're passionate about, and sharing that passion. So before I go fully into the topic and tell you a little bit about how to do process goals instead and share a little bit about my story, let me introduce myself. So my name is Ilsa Kamtiader. I'm a long-term psychotherapist, licensed psychotherapist, and I'm also a soulful success coach. I work with entrepreneurs, soulful entrepreneurs, healers, coaches who feel stuck, frustrated, overwhelmed. I help them become the sovereign leader that they are meant to be, and to also figure out their unique sacred path to more clients, more impact, more money, and a lot more ease. If that feels like you, if that resonates with you, then reach out to me. I offer free soulful success activation sessions where I sit with you and we look over your business, we look over what needs to shift, and brainstorm on some of the things you can do to essentially start achieving that goal and build a business and an offer that honors your soul and changes lives and also fulfills you financially. So if you would like to meet with me for an hour and kind of brainstorm with your business and discover what are the shifts that you can start taking and changes you can start making right away, then just put #brainstorm in the comments or message me directly on Messenger, and we'll figure out what's keeping you stuck and we'll design your unique path to soulful success. So let me tell you a little bit about my story and why I feel so strongly about process goals over tangible result-oriented goals. So for me, I had a practice as a psychotherapist, working with entrepreneurs, working with high achievers for many years. And at some point, I decided I wanted to branch out, I wanted to expand, I wanted to go online, I wanted to work with people from all over the place and have more freedom, more time freedom, more location freedom, more financial freedom. I started my work online. I started sharing and I started showing up. And if you've followed me, you've heard me say this. I used to say it took me 8 months to get my first client. That's actually not true. I went back and looked, and it took me 9 months, which is kind of an interesting number given that that's gestation time for us humans. But it took me 9 months of sharing almost daily, at least 5 times a week, of showing up, of creating content, of dialing in my message, of figuring out exactly what I wanted to say, who I was speaking to, all those things, of putting my heart out there until somebody actually said, "Hey, I want a session with you." And I had my first sale from online. And there were moments in there of me saying, well, this isn't working. Obviously, I'm doing something wrong. I'm putting all this time, this effort, this energy, and what for? I did this to have more time. I did this to have more financial freedom. Really, the only thing I've created is more work and not a whole lot of results. And if I had only focused on that, if I had focused on how many new clients do I have this week, how many, how many people have reached out to me, how many sales calls have I done, how much extra money have I made compared to where I was a year ago, I would have given up like so quick, very quick. And the way that I did it is I became more interested in how I was showing up than in those tangible results. And so I realized, you will often hear me say this, for me, building a business is a spiritual practice. It is with marriage and with relationships, it is the one thing that will trigger all your shit. It is the one thing that will push you and bring up all the woundedness, all the visibility wounds, all the I don't want to be seen, but yet I want to be seen wounds, all the who's going to pay me for this, I'm unworthy wounds, all the shit that's deep inside that most of us don't actually get to discover because it's not being poked, comes up in entrepreneurship. And so for me, my goal was I'm not going to worry about clients. I'm going to make sure that I keep showing up in a way that is super aligned with me. I'm going to keep working on speaking to the right clients. I'm going to keep working on through my insecurity and my visibility blocks so I can show up powerfully and so I can extend my reach. And I'm just going to focus on me. And so for me, it looked like this. At first, I opened a group, and my goal, my process goal, was to post something at least 5 times a week, consistently, to be consistently so a little quote, a little blog post or article, an inquiry for people, a question, like whatever it was, that was the first thing. And when I had that down, and that was my definition of success. I want to post, I want to show up, I want to serve as often as I can and at least 5 times. Then I moved on to, I want to post at least one video or go live once a week on top of, as part of these five times. And I worked through that. And then I did that. And then it was like, okay, I want to start making offers and asking people to get on calls with me and letting them know that they can work with me in a more powerful, more direct way. And that was my next goal. Every time I shared something powerful, I wrote something extensive, I made a call to action. Then my next goal is I want to go live at least twice. And then it was I want to go live at least 3 times. So now here's where I'm at. Where I'm at is I want to show up consistently. I have worked on my message. I've worked on making sure I'm speaking to the right people. I have worked on, sharing my wins. That was another thing. I'm not a big bragger. So I don't like to share when my clients are doing great, or I don't like to share when I'm doing great, because that feels a little icky for some reason, like I'm bragging. So I had to work on that, on occasion, a couple times a month, sharing wins, inspiring people, letting know that, hey, people are having success, even healers, even sensitives, even introverts. They are reaching their people. They are having success. It can, if it can happen to me, it can happen to you. If it can happen to my clients, it can happen to you. And so where I'm at now is I try to go live 2 to 3 times a week. I try to make sure I have a couple call to actions and invitations in each post or in each lives. And I try to make sure I post something almost every day. Sometimes on Sunday I won't, and I'll give myself that day. And I have a system, I have a process in place. And so for me, the process of how I show up and is almost more important than the results I get. And what I have found is that as I have stepped into who I want to be and what I want to share and the mission I have, and in my own power and in my own integrity, clients have started showing up. It took a little while, and then suddenly it happened. I like to call that the tsunami effect, where it's like nothing's happening, nothing's happening. On the contrary, sometimes it feels like the water's removing, less is even happening than before, and suddenly it all comes all at once. And I think that I've seen that happen with a lot of my clients, where it takes a while to get ourselves aligned with what it is that we want, and to get ourselves aligned with how we show up, or align how we show up with what we want. And at that point, what we want shows up. So first we have to be, then we have to do that beingness, and then we receive what we've been being and the way we've been showing up. Um, so, if we're always focusing on how many calls we get, how many sessions we've done, how many clients we've new clients we've gotten, how much money we've made, to how many more people are in our group or in our audience, what happens over time is that we will erode our confidence, especially if we miss these, somewhat regularly. And I think that can happen, especially in the earlier phase of our business, when we do not have a system in place, we do not have a clear message in place. The first few months, the first year of business is about clarifying all of that. It's about getting support. It's about investing in ourselves, and doing market research, and having a mentor of some sort who's going to help us dial that in. And so if right away we come out there with the idea that within 2, 3 months or within a month, we're going to have new clients, and we haven't clarified who we need to be and what we need to be, who we need to be talking to, then that's going to be difficult. Can it happen? Absolutely. But usually, even when it happens, there's a lot of seesaws where we have a really good month and then we have a really shitty one. And then we get a couple new clients and then nothing for a while. And that's usually an aspect of, we're focusing on the wrong thing. We're focusing on the results. And as we see no clients show up, or people not having a lot of response, our energy starts shifting, and it becomes a vicious cycle, rather than really putting our focus on who we need to be. How are we showing up? Are we stretching ourselves? Are we stepping into courage? Are we stepping into our own credibility and our own authority? And when we start doing that, then we feel successful regardless of what's happening. And then we move and we walk in trust that whatever we're putting out there, it will come back. It's literally like, what's that thing, that they throw out? Oh, it's not a frisbee. It's that Australian thing that they throw out and then it comes back. Like, that's kind of the way things always work. We put energy out, we put energy out, we put energy that is in integrity with who we are, who we want to become, and what we want to create. And at some point, that vision is literally moving towards us as we're moving towards it. But it can take a little bit of time. So if any of this resonates, if you've seen yourself just getting disheartened, putting your focus on the wrong thing, not having a clear message, maybe not speaking to the right people, not being quite clear what problem you solve and what promise you offer, then, if this resonates, let's connect with me. Put hashtag brainstorm in the comment or send me a message on Messenger and let's get on a call together. My Soulful Success activation sessions, literally, you walk me through your business. I see where the gaps are. I see what's going on intuitively. I feel into what needs to shift inside you and also in your strategy so that you can start attracting the clients that you want and really serving and impacting the world. And I give you a few things that you can start doing. And if you're interested in working more with me, then we talk about working more together after that. Um, so let's talk a little bit more about how to set up process goals. Process goals are essentially focused on you. They're focused on a few things. They're focused on essentially embodying your most sovereign self. They're focused on who you need to show up and what energy you need to have to become the sovereign entrepreneur and the sovereign leader that you are at your most successful level. Um, Process goals are also about clarifying your message and making sure that whenever you show up live or in a post or in any kind of content, that you are speaking exactly to what it is that you want to teach and that you are speaking exactly to the kind of person you want to work with, and you're not playing small. You're not trying to be vanilla. You're not trying to attract everyone, and meanwhile, not being powerful in what you're sharing. And process goals are about having a plan and making sure that you are showing up in a unique, reliable, repeatable system or process or framework, and that you're honoring that. You're actually, you have a plan in place and you're working the plan. So process goals are focused on you, and for me, they're focused on what I call the 4 C's of success. So the 4 C's of success are clarity, courage, and confidence, and consistency and credibility. So the 4 C's of success: you want your content, you want your energy, you want what you're showing up as to be about clarity. Am I getting clearer and clearer and clearer as to who I'm serving, what I'm helping them with, and why working with me is important and how I can help them? Am I clear on the value that I offer? Am I showing up with courage? Am I stretching myself? Am I showing up with confidence? Am I stepping into out of my comfort zone and into my sovereignty in how I reach out and how I share? Am I doing so consistently? So if I'm sharing and I'm showing up, once in every great while, even if I'm showing up in all the right way and having all the right messaging and offering massive value to people, if I'm only doing it haphazardly, then it's not going to work. So there is, especially with social media, people are bombarded. And if we don't show up consistently, they can't rely on us. If they show up, they see something, they love it, and then they don't hear from us, they don't see anything for weeks at a time, then we're never going to be able to really grow a strong base, a strong foundation to our business that way. And then the last one I have in that is that I want to show up, you want to show up in a way that builds credibility. That's the last C. In a way that builds credibility, you want to be in your power so that people know that what you're talking about and you can support them. So that's the 4 C's of success that you want to use as part of your process goal. Am I being clear? Am I being consistent? Am I showing up from a place of courage and confidence? And am I showing up in a way that builds my credibility? If you achieve all these things, then in some ways you've been successful. And that's what I do. My process goals are focused on me. I ask myself as I'm setting up my plan for those goals, the questions you want to ask yourself are something like, how often do you want to show up in social media or on social media? Like, how often do you want to reach out to your email list if you have one? How often? What's the consistency that you want to have? In what ways do you want to show up? Do you want to show up live? Do you want to show up in posts? Do you want to show up in videos? Do you want to create long articles? You don't have to show up a specific way. I think we can be successful showing up in all sorts of ways. I think what's important is to decide how we want to show up and then make sure that we are showing up that way. That's the process goal. Am I showing up in the way I said I wanted to? For a long time, I struggled with going live. I really didn't like it at all. Like that little I, the little numbers, like, ugh, messages. It's like I didn't know what was worse. Is it worse when no one's watching and you get no comments? Or is it worse when you have a bunch of people watching and they're all commenting and you're being distracted? I'm actually not sure. To this day, I kind of ignore comments until the end, unless I really see something that makes sense for me to interrupt. But it took me months to go live successfully and to do it consistently. And that was my process goal. If I go live, even for 3 minutes, to talk about, you know, whatever I'm eating or my dog or a quote that I found that I loved, if I go live at all this week, I won. I succeeded. And if you know me, now I go live and I can't shut up. And my lives are always longer than I meant to have them go live. And I go live 2 to 3 times a week, most weeks. And I don't, there's still a little bit of a rub for me. Like it's not like easiest, but it is what exploded my business. It is what got people to really get a sense of me and get a sense that I could have something to offer to them. So you want to ask yourself, how do you want to show up live? Show up on social media, live post videos, what's going to work for you. You want to ask yourself, what you want to be known for. What are the topics that you want people to know you for? And are you sharing that, or are you all over the place? I looked at one of my clients' profile last week, and she wasn't getting the results that she wanted. And I looked at her profile, and she was all over the place. She was talking about diet, and she was talking about balance, and she was talking about self-care, and she was talking about following your dreams, and she was talking about angels on one of them, and meditation. And I said to her, I said, like all your stuff is good, but I think people don't know what you're about. So even if you're going to talk about angels, bring it back to what the main thing you want to be known for is. Even if you're going to talk about balance, bring it back why balance is important in this thing that you want to be known for. For me, I talk about soulful success. I talk about creating your own sacred, unique path to more clients, more money, more impact, and a lot more ease. So in doing that, I'm going to talk about goals. I'm going to talk about self-care. I'm going to talk about letting go of the idea that only hard works create results. I'm going to talk about messaging and speaking to your highest level client. I'm going to talk about all sorts of shit, but I'm going to make sure that when I talk about it, I let people know why it's important in building a highly successful, highly enjoyable, freedom-focused business. Because if not, I'm going to confuse them. So are you staying on topic? Are you making sure that you're telling people what you're about and what you want to be known for? And are you speaking to your highest, most ideal client? That was a thing I struggled with a lot. I would get frustrated that the people who would come talk to me were not ready to move forward, or didn't have, they weren't ready to invest in themselves. And my own coach looked at my content and said, you're talking a lot about struggle. You're bringing up a lot about struggle rather than talking to what they want to create, what they want to have, what's possible for them. And because you're talking about struggle, you are attracting people who are stuck in struggle. And she said to me, she's like, we attract 2 types of clients. We attract clients who are in survival mode. And in some ways in survival mode, they don't have a real place for change. Their identity is so wrapped up with just surviving that they don't know how to get beyond that. Or we attract empowered clients who know they are meant for more, who know that there's more possibility for them, and who know that with the right support, they can create something so much bigger than they can create on their own. So are you talking to the client you actually want to attract? Or are you talking to the client that you want to elevate but annoy you and are not quite ready to speak with you or to work with you? And then ask yourself, what is your simple aligned strategy that you want to put in place? And are you honoring that? Are you keeping to that? It does not have to be complicated. It can be extremely simple. I love to say, and if you've watched a lot of these lives, you've heard me say this before, that success does not take hard work, it takes courage. So it can be extremely simple, but it does take us having these process goals. It does take us showing up in a powerful way and in a way that's never quite totally comfortable or convenient. Like that's what success, that's what growth requires. It requires that as we expand ourselves, then whatever we get back also expands. So that's essentially what I have to share with you. I'm looking at my notes, seeing if I forgot anything. Figure out who you want to be, what you want to do, and how you want to do it. And at that point, share that. Share that and be on message, be aligned. That's it. If any of this resonates with you, if you want help designing your own unique sacred path to success, to a marketing plan that is aligned with your soul, to more clients, to clear messaging, then let's get on a call together. Just put #brainstorm in the comments or send me a message on Messenger directly. What I can promise you is through these Soulful Success activation sessions, we'll explore what's missing, we'll explore what's holding you back and what needs to shift. And I'll give you a couple ideas, a couple strategies, a couple things you can do to really start moving the needle quickly so that you can have the kind of impact and the kind of reach and create the kind of business and the kind of life that you really want to. Because we are here to be lighthouses. We are here to truly inspire and show the way to people and to be rooted in our own power. So I would love to connect with you and see how I can help you do that. And if you get a ton out of this session, this free session with me, and you want to work more with me, then we'll talk about that at that point. All right. Thank you so much for joining me. You know what? I should see and make sure that I don't have any comments. I am not always very good at that. Let's see. I'm on StreamYard. I can see comments in my group, but I can't see comments from anywhere else. So I'm just going to make sure that I don't have any major comments. Oh, goodness. I probably should have been better prepared, guys. I apologize. Oh, and by the way, you can leave comments or have questions anytime because I will always go back and check. But let me see. I see Sharon has said a few things about the 4 C's. All right. That's mainly Sharon is there. I love Sharon. She's an amazing sound healer. Sharon Buck, reach out to her if you want some real transformation in your business and releasing blocks. Thank you so much, guys. I will talk to you soon. Bye.